It's an epoch. It's a new age. It's a huge new development. Again, it's not rocket science.
You're trying to put all the pieces together. This seems like the first piece, and if the first piece is missing, then all the other pieces don't have something to connect to.
My question is, why does society not know this? Why does society not see this?
And any father with a good heart can catch on to this.
As a father, it makes me reflect. As a therapist, it makes me reflect.
You know, this film is for fathers.
Here's what people don't know.
Missing pieces. The baby has a psyche.
The baby is an aware, feeling being that knows everything that's happening, that records somewhere in the baby's body all of these events that happen.
We're not talking how much brain matter there is now. We're talking psyche, which literally means mind or soul.
But the idea of the prenate being conscious and its character being developed in the womb.
It's a different realm of awareness and knowing.
I think people know this. I think people intuitively know this. I think spiritually we know this.
The funny thing is I read to him a lot before he was born, and talked to him a lot, and, you know, touched your belly and things like that.
And it is true that babies have in utero the capacity to hear and smell and see and taste and touch.
There's lots of science, lots of evidence now that the baby is always aware of what's happening.
If the people realize that baby is sentient, present, and participating, the baby's been participating in the birth. The baby's in there pushing with his legs and moving its head. The baby is actively involved in the birth.
Leaving that safe, soft, smooth place.
I'm always shocked when people are like, they assume that you definitely would be safer in a hospital. And then there are people who think that just because you're at home with a midwife that you're safer.
Very tight cord. Very tight cord.
Wherever a birth happens.
Well, the baby is going to be paying 100% attention to where it is and what's happening.
It's not as simple as being at home or being in a hospital.
Embracing the baby as an aware, experiencing, feeling being is what makes birth safe for the baby.
They've been in this quiet, protected, muffled environment, and now all of a sudden they're out here being assaulted by all of us, dried and hats and rubbing and suctioning. And
the baby is learning from what's happening, good or bad.
Therefore, we need to be really sensitive and really careful about how we handle babies in those moments after birth.
He was over there screaming his head off while the doctors doing their routine, you know, telling him off.
In this case, it doesn't look like it's necessary. But assuming the procedure is necessary, the baby, even right after the birth, is capable of cooperating with the procedure.
And I started talking to him, and immediately he stopped and he looked over at me. And we made eye contact for the first time. And then, you know, they're still doing their thing, so he turned back and started screaming again.
There's no place else in this country, in this world, where an American father will stand by and allow his baby and partner to be so violated and so humiliated and so abused.
We have the need to protect. Well, if we don't have the information to be able to protect, then we're useless.
Well, here comes the nurse with the baby, so I follow after the baby, and they take it into a room. Well, this room had plate glass panels so you could see into it.
They had taken him into the nursery, and I couldn't go in there.
I was standing on the other side of the glass at that point. I really felt very helpless to do anything to intervene with regard to what was going on and what was being presented to me in terms of the medical practice.
And that's why I felt useless the whole time.
I start pounding on the glass and causing a disturbance. And you know, I stopped when security came.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I think that men really stuff a lot of anger from their violation in birth, and they have no place to express it.
I'm not the one harming the baby. Get your arms off me and go arrest the doctor. And that nurse needs to be shackled too.
And I was standing back there in the nursery looking in, and I saw her take one by the arm, it was laying on its little back, and flip it over. Just actually flip that little baby. And I was afraid to say anything to the any higher ups for fear that she might retaliate on my baby while it was still there.
I'm aware that I went home and carried that sense of guilt, or a sense that I really didn't do everything that I should have done as a dad to protect them in that environment.
I was standing up, and I couldn't see over the top of the thing that he was in, and I stood up on the little wooden step so I could get up there high enough where I could see over. And I remember just standing there on the other side of the glass, thinking, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The other side of the glass gives fathers the information and the power that they need to protect their babies from those people who would make birth unsafe.
I believe he's already 5 minutes old. Wow. That's incredible. He's old, huh? He's old now. We're going to make sure that he's all cleared from any meconium that we're doing there.
They're suctioning, which is against, first of all, the American Academy of Pediatrics Neonatal Resuscitation Program guidelines.
The evidence shows that if a baby's, there's meconium in the fluid, to be aware of that, to be watched for that. And if the baby comes out vigorous, we don't suction the baby.
Whether you bulb or suction. And they said none of this affects the incidence of meconium aspiration syndrome.
I didn't want to have another C-section, but I didn't want to be separated from him either.
Yeah.
And so I had given the doctor the
plan, yeah.
That when I gave birth to Andrew, I wanted him up on me, and that the cord was to stay intact until it was done pulsing. And things didn't work out.
Common practice in obstetrics today is to clamp the cord as soon as it is convenient for the obstetrician. The safest way to clamp the cord is to clamp it after the placenta has been delivered.
It's one of the greatest examples of child abuse that any of us will ever see.
Time to go to mommy?
He's beautiful.
These abuses that we do to mother and baby are normalized. I call them normative abuse, like others do as well.
It's tragic that this sort of thing happens every day in thousands of hospitals all across the United States.
What's happening in hospital is just, in fact, the effect of what cultural conditioning.
Routines that are imposed upon mothers and babies and fathers in birthing in hospitals.
Babies' lives have been endangered by standard medical practices.
We've normalized these terrible things that we do to babies.
And it damages our entire population.
We go back to it. We save lives of mothers and babies, and then we can do it with heart, though. We can do it with gentleness. We can do it with dignity and respect.